We're Zach and Annie, a Scotsman and an American,
who fell in love while working as camp counselors and then lived across the US for the next 15 years, where we started a family and built a life together.
Just recently, we took a huge leap of faith, leaving everything behind in California in order to follow a new dream of moving to Scotland.
Hello everyone! So today we're going to get into the 11 things that we didn't know about moving to Scotland. And some of these might seem a little bit trivial or silly, but then others will probably be extremely helpful to you. So follow along and let us know if you learned something new.
Yeah, obviously with me being born and raised in Scotland, even though some of you don't believe that, we did know quite a lot going in, and we thought we knew everything we needed to know. But even I've learned things now coming back after having kids and more life experiences. So I've learned something. If you guys feel like you've learned something as well, please support the channel, like, subscribe, and you can even check out our Buy Me a Coffee page if you really want to help support the channel, and we'd greatly appreciate it. That being said, should we get into it?
Yes. So the point number one is having to do with medication. And one thing that we really didn't know was that you don't go to a doctor's office and get a prescription and then go to the pharmacy for every type of med you might need. There are some things, like our son had a little thing here on his lip just from licking.
A little rash.
So had to go to the doctor. I took him in thinking, okay, they'll prescribe me something. Once I got there, they said, oh no, you don't need to come into the office for this. That was news to me.
Yeah, she just got referred straight to our local pharmacy. So we went over there and the pharmacist came, had a little look, wrote up a little prescription, and we walked out in about 10 minutes with exactly what we needed, which was great, because getting an appointment at the GP can take 5-10 days, maybe even more. So this is great just to get a little quick fix.
So for minor ailments, all you need to do is go to the pharmacist and see if they can write you something. And if not, then they'll tell you to go to your GP, but check with the pharmacist first.
So for today's video sponsor, we decided to collaborate with a brand that we can truly get behind, Wild. So if you haven't already heard, Wild makes refillable, natural personal care that actually works. And we know this because we've been trying them out.
Not only are their lip balm, body wash, and deodorant full of natural ingredients, free from aluminium salts, parabens, and sulfates, their formulas are also certified vegan and animal cruelty free. They come in high quality, reusable, and customizable cases with compostable refills.
We appreciate Wild's clear commitment to sustainability and the fact that their products are so simple to use.
As you can see here, when it's time for a refill, you just wind your case down, slide the bottom out of your case, remove the used refill, and slot your new refill into position. Push the bottom with the refill back into your case, and you're done.
And if you're wondering about this adorable pattern, it's part of the new Emma Bridgewater Star Case collection, because why not sprinkle a little stardust into your bathroom?
With Black Friday, now is the best time to snag your own products using our code SIMPLE33. This offer gets you 33% off all Wild products, which is the biggest discount Wild has ever had. If that's not enough, you should know that for every Emma Bridgewater case purchased during the sale, Wild will plant 2 trees in the Wild Forest, on top of their usual tree planting efforts.
Finally, you might be interested to hear that they're currently launching 3 new scents: Arctic Ice Queen, Sugar Plum Fairy, and my favorite, Enchanted Forest. This scent is like a stroll through a mysterious and magical woodland. It's described as wonderfully woody with oodles of wintry freshness. It's packed with dark sophistication. Now, how could you pass that up? So if this sounds like something you're interested in, please check out our description box to get your own refillable products. Don't forget to use our code SIMPLE33.
Number 2 has to do with where you live, especially if you have kids, and the catchment area. Catchment area is also for your local services, hospitals, doctor's office, all that sort of stuff. So that's something you have to be aware of.
Yes, do your due diligence, because all catchment areas are not created equally. And what we found was you can get amazing services, you can get into your GP easily, you can have a wonderful school in a certain catchment area, and just down the road is the complete opposite, and it takes much longer to get prescriptions. Some of those GPs won't write certain prescriptions, so you really do need to do your due diligence. If there's a certain medication that you need and you're thinking about going to a catchment area, call them, see if they do write prescriptions, if they honor a diagnosis that you've been given in the States. Do that before choosing your catchment area or before moving over.
Yeah, the really nice thing about Scotland is that quite often a lot of these smaller communities are actually better served for health practices than like a big city, for example, which is almost the opposite of the US. So that was a nice surprise. And in our area in East Lothian, we've been really lucky with the minor things we've had to go to the doctor or the hospital for. So.
And we were quite surprised. Our friend up north, way up north in the Highlands, said that his services there are better than any of the services that he received down in England. So that's just something.
And I think that was for like a retirement home or like something for the elderly. So yeah, you're really well looked after in certain areas. So do your research and find out where those areas are.
Last part of the medication piece is that in Scotland, at point of service, your prescription is free. So that's good to know. It's not the same across
my favorite
the whole
price,
UK.
$3.99.
$3.99.
We forgot to mention this point, and it's huge. So in Scotland, 3 to 5-year-olds can get up to 1,140 hours of funded early learning for nursery. And this is 22 hours a week if used all year long, or 30 hours a week if used only during the school term. It's truly amazing.
Okay, so point number 3 is laundry takes an eternity. And some people are going to come at me for this, but it's just true. It takes a long time to get your laundry done here.
Yes, there's a few factors that play into that. Number one, the appliances are smaller.
Yeah.
So you can't put as much in at a time. Number 2, if you're hanging your clothes out, that takes time, and you have to be at the mercy of the weather.
Yes.
The point we're going to talk about a little bit more, which we learned, is to do with the dryers. Yes, we have a tumble dryer. We live in Scotland. Despite all the blue skies, it rains and it's cold, so sometimes you just need to throw them in the tumble dryer. Now in the US, those are big things. They have a big pipe that goes out the back and they vent out of the house. In Scotland, you can get those, but it's not commonplace. Over here, they use a heat pump.
And not all of them are heat pump.
No.
But that is energy efficient.
Yeah, the heat pumps I think are something like 28% more energy efficient than the other varieties. And it basically uses the heat and condensation and moisture that it creates to then recirculate it and dry the clothes at a lower temperature. So it's gentler on the clothes, and uses less energy, all that. But it does take a long time.
So in the US, when I needed to do a load of laundry, it typically took about 45 minutes to an hour and a half for a big load. And over here with the heat pump dryer, it is taking about 3.5 hours per load to get it completely dry.
So long that you put it in and forget it ever happened. And then you come out, you're like, oh yeah, there's those clothes that I dried yesterday.
Yes, I'll fold them now.
No, but it does, you just have to plan for that more. Like early in the morning, first thing we put some in the laundry and then get it dry by middle of the day almost, it feels like. And that's something we definitely learned firsthand here.
Yeah.
When you start pressing those buttons, you're like, what does that number say? And 3s and 4s appear. You're just, it's a lot different from the US, so something to bear in mind. So the next one has to do with taxes. When I moved away, taxes were just something that happened. I didn't think too much about them. And at the end of the year, either you get a check from the government or you're told you owe a little bit. Whereas in the US, it's this whole massive involved process, which I don't think anybody actually understands. And you don't really know how much you're going to pay, and it changes, and there's just so much that goes into it. In the UK, there's a system, PAYE, that just takes out the correct amount of tax from your paycheck each month, week, or however often you're paid. Like I said, at the end, there's maybe a slight correction if you've had a varying income, but it's as simple as that. For most people, the majority of people don't have to do anything with their taxes in the UK. Just
you're not filing them the same way that you do in the US. And the nice thing is that's for pretty much anyone who has a standard job in the UK.
Yeah, if you're employed by someone and don't have anything else going on, that's it's simple. You just don't do anything.
It's going to vary if you're self-employed or do something out of the norm, but just keep in mind that it's much easier come tax season, and the tax year is from April 6th to April 5th the next year.
The format he's referring to is called a self-assessment tax form, and that's if you have any additional income outside of your normal job. You have to fill that out, and then it gets a little more like the US system, but still not anywhere near as complicated. So that's something we learned, but it's a good thing to learn because it's easy.
Yep. One more thing with taxes, which is something we already knew before coming over here, but I thought I'd just throw it in, is Americans, for the rest of your life, even if you work in Scotland the rest of your life, you will always have to fill out a form called the F-bar and send that over to the United States. So keep that in mind. You're always going to be filing for the United States as long as you are here and you have U.S. citizenship.
Yes.
So I think there's a few minor workarounds, but for the vast majority.
We could do a whole video on that topic, so
Yeah.
we'll leave it for there just now.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's exemplified today, but we're going to talk about the weather.
Yeah, people are going to strongly disagree with this, but I stand by it. And my hot take is that Scottish weather, at least on the East Coast, is by far 1,000 times better than I had anticipated.
Yes. The amount of rain, for example, we've had since we've been here has been like less
Minimal.
than 10 days, I think.
Yep. That's 6 months.
Yeah. So even I'm surprised, and people disagree with us. We thought the summer was great, and everyone thought, oh, that wasn't a very good summer. So we're excited for next summer. Hopefully we get a good summer. But yeah, as you can see today, like it is cold, and the car said it was like 4 or 5 degrees Celsius. But blue skies, no rain. No rain, can't complain, huh?
Exactly. I have been so pleasantly surprised. And it's one thing that everyone keeps asking, like, oh, how are you doing with the weather? The change in weather must be killing you. And I'm like, actually, it's perfectly fine. It has not taken me back at all yet. Once again, winter is coming. We know we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
And it's already started to get dark around 4:30. So we're experiencing that. We do have a sad lamp, which I like a lot, actually. But I don't know. We're just, after we pick the kids up from school, like we're so busy with life that there's not too much time to worry about how dark it is outside. So we'll keep you updated on that. But yeah, so far, even I've been pleasantly surprised with my country's weather. So
the cold weather brings us to our next point, and that is about cold toes. And I don't know if everyone learns this, and I just didn't learn this information. I'm not quite sure. Zach said he learned it in school, but coming from two hot areas, California and Georgia, maybe it just wasn't common knowledge.
Should we start with the little story? So we're getting ready to go somewhere.
I don't even know what story.
It's a cold day. We're sitting in the car, and he's fully kitted out. We've not been outside at all. She's like, my toes are freezing. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, so I was like, well, take your shoes off and try and get the heat on them and warm them up. And they got warmed up, but they got cold again.
As soon as I put my shoes on, my toes felt like they were freezing off of my body.
Yes. And we learned that in order for Annie's nice, thick, warm socks to actually be effective, there needs to be a nice air gap for the insulation to actually work. Her socks were too tight inside of her shoes, which fitted perfectly with regular socks. But with those thicker socks, they got compressed. And just like if you compress insulation in your house, it's not as effective. And I didn't even think to tell Annie, because all of my like waterproof boots or shoes, you always go in wearing the thick socks you're gonna wear them with, so that you have that little extra, maybe half size more, so that when your feet swell if you're doing a lot of walking, or to keep that air insulation and warm toes.
I've just never had that phenomenon of going outside and my toes being cold. And my boots and things always fit just like a normal tennis shoe would, which is apparently not what you're supposed to do. So when you're purchasing boots for over here, get a half size up and you should be in a much better position. And now I need to go purchase some new shoes.
Yeah, or just take those socks, or put 2 pairs of socks, or at the shop, try on with thick socks to get that good fit. And because cold toes are hard to recover from, and they're no fun, especially on children. Children and cold toes don't mix well.
So cold toes goes to hot drinks. This is one.
This is Annie's I can't talk about anything. This is Annie's expertise.
It is. I have never in my life sipped drinks that burn your mouth and tongue immediately, just day after day. It is the norm for your drinks to be so hot that no one can drink them, I don't think.
What I will add to this is why I've never enjoyed hot drinks, for that exact reason. Anytime when I was growing up, I'd take a sip, I was like, how does anybody drink this? It's like lava in your mouth. And then Annie didn't understand, and then she came over here, and like the first few coffees she's had, it's like, Now I understand.
Yes.
I would not be able to drink this as a child either.
No, or as an adult. But I get it. It's because over here, a lot of people are taking their coffees and going outside. And once you get outdoors, the temperature drops immediately in your hot drink. And no one wants to be walking around with a lukewarm beverage.
Oh, that's
So-
interesting. Do you think it's on purpose? Because I mean, like,
I feel like it's the expectation. Everyone
boiling-
just has boiling water drinks.
yeah, but boiling water in the US is the same temperature as boiling water in the UK.
Apparently it's not.
It
Or
doesn't
no,
matter if it's Fahrenheit or Celsius, it's still boiling water.
I also think that because of the lawsuit McDonald's had so many years ago,
Oh.
where someone drank a McDonald's drink and said that it burnt them and they
Yeah.
got money, right?
They didn't expect it to be hot.
Compensation. Yeah.
No.
So I think a lot of companies maybe just made their drinks
That could be
a
it.
little bit.
If you work in a
Less hot?
coffee shop
Yeah.
in either country, let us know if that's a thing you do, or if you turn the temperature down, or in Scotland if you turn the temperature
And
up.
let us know if you're British and you've been to the United States. When you get your drinks, are you extremely disappointed? Are you like,
Not just
"What
with the
is
flavor.
this?
Not just with the flavor.
What is this cold beverage you just served me? It's supposed to be hot." So yeah, we want to hear your experience. And I don't know, you felt it though too, right? It's not
Yeah,
just me.
it's literally scarred me as a child, so never touched it again.
People were a little bit upset that Finn hasn't been featured recently, so we
Yeah.
thought we'd bring him up here.
Nobody watches these videos for us. It's all for Finnegan. So here he is.
Oh, our sweet boy! Look how much he's grown. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's gonna need a new harness soon, I think. But this was Annie's idea to bring him up here, and then I get lumped with him. Yes, yes.
he's so cute.
All right.
He is a good
Say
boy.
bye for now. Bye bye. Okay, back to it. So we just talked about that silly McDonald's lawsuit in the US, which brings us on to liability in Scotland.
And what I find is that there's much less of a suing culture in the UK, which I greatly appreciate.
Yeah.
Well, at least in Scotland. I'm not sure elsewhere.
Yeah.
And things are just less intense when you go to, I'm trying to think of a good example, like
Like
a kid's birthday
Yeah,
party at a jumpy house. You're not reading a 10-page waiver and then signing your rights and life away. You might have a 1-page thing saying, if I fall off of this, it's my fault, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think in Scotland it's typically more like the common sense side of things are taken care of. Like if you're ice skating and you slip and fall on the ice, then everyone's like, yeah, well, you knew that might happen. Whereas in the States, I feel like
It has to be outlined.
someone could sue you for that ice was extra slippery and all this, that, and the other. So, yeah, we've just never experienced anything liability-wise in Scotland, whereas in the US, it's very commonplace and like lawsuit this, lawsuit that.
You just have to be more careful when you're doing certain things
Yeah.
in the United States because people it just seems like they're more inclined to sue over anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, just another thing that
Weigh
we
in with
appreciate.
your thoughts though. If we're missing some Scottish law, let us
yeah,
know.
definitely.
But seems just like a lot of common sense takes precedence, which is fantastic in our eyes. So, what's next? Recycling?
Oh, recycling's a good one. Yes.
So, we thought we did a pretty good job in the US. In California, we had 3 different wheelie bins. We had garden waste, general waste, and recycling, which was, and food waste. So,
Yep.
we had, the recycling
Compost.
was cardboard, paper, tin, plastic,
Glass.
anything that could be recycled. And we thought, well, that's pretty good. That's probably what we're going to have over here. I think we have 7 different
Yes.
depositories for things.
I feel like you need to be a rocket scientist to understand the recycling system in our general area. I know this varies based on what city you are in.
I think East Lothian is an extreme example.
But East Lothian.
So,
let's
garden
get to it.
waste.
Yeah, garden waste.
General household waste, which only gets picked up once every 3 weeks.
And that's trash, just your normal
Like
trash.
non-recyclable landfill stuff. So they're trying to reduce that, obviously. Then you've got paper and cardboard,
Yep. Glass.
glass is on its own. Then you've got plastic and
But let's talk about the plastic. So plastic, you have your general plastic, things that food comes in, food containers from the grocery store. And then the saran wrap plastic top that comes with it has to be recycled. You actually have to take that in to your grocery store and deliver it if you want it to be
Yes.
recycled. And then you also have another kind of plastic that you can't do that or that. You have to mail it in elsewhere. What ones are those?
I forget which. I think it was like maybe one of the coffee pod things.
Okay.
It's like, you can recycle this. You can't recycle at home. You can't recycle it at your store, but mail it to us and we'll recycle it. So yeah, what Annie's talking about is exactly right. So much so that there's instructions on the back of any recyclable product, or most products actually, saying how to recycle it. And it will say things like, bottom plastic container, recycle at home. Top plastic lid, recycle at your local grocery store, which, yeah, just adds another.
We're happy to do our part. We are doing it, and we're.
When we moved in, I was like, how do we buy enough bins to like separate this unless we want to do like a weekly separation of stuff? So in our house, we have a 3-bin system,
and then a compost on top of that.
Yeah, food waste. Yeah.
Yep.
And
then Zach does actually have to go through it at the end of the week and separate it further into the bins outside. So yeah, it's just a process.
Like that overpriced yogurt that we bought has a plastic container, but a cardboard wrap around it. So you have to detach the cardboard and separate those. And then I just thought of another thing. Oh, it's going to annoy me.
One thing while we're talking about the yogurt containers, a big difference between the United States and the UK is that there aren't plastic lids on a lot of items. So pretty much any Tupperware type container or yogurt container has a plastic lid that snaps on the top. Over here, that's not the case. It's more of either a like tin foil type lid, aluminum, or it's a plastic lid, or not plastic, like a film lid, plastic film.
The one I remembered was the like plastic bottles of like Coke.
Yes.
So the lids are attached to the bottle, which confused the heck out of me the first time. I was like, what's the, and then it folds over, and as you're drinking, it just like pokes you in the nose. But the weirdest thing is it says,
little nose, no way.
Is that a Kelpie? Yeah, the weird thing is on the bottle it says, oh, attached to be recycled together. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like, so people aren't throwing lids around. But then also below that says, this lid is not recyclable. So I don't know if it varies so much by area that they have to kind of put both on there. But yeah, the recycling is intense. We obviously appreciate the effort towards helping the environment and all this and the other. But
it's a learning process, so prepare for it.
I've got a lot of reminders on my phone because if there's like 1 week this goes out, every 3rd week this goes out, every other day this goes out, and there's just a lot. But hopefully it's worth it for our beautiful country and environment. But
yes.
Recycling, yes.
This one surprised me because from all the years I've been with Zach, he has led me to believe that British people are more insular and keep to themselves, which in some cases they do. But I am finding the general population in Scotland to be extremely friendly and actually outgoing.
Yeah, I think I need to clarify a few points. There's definitely still a difference between Scottish people, UK people, and the US in terms of outgoingness and all that.
I see that.
I never said they weren't friendly.
No. You didn't say they weren't friendly.
Okay,
that's right.
But I definitely agree that people are definitely more outgoing than I remembered or felt. And I don't know if that says more about me than the other people. We have learned from a couple of our other videos, though, that it seems to be like regional.
Yeah. Like Glaswegians, they say, will be your best friend the next day.
West Coast seems to be even more outgoing than maybe East Coast, Edinburgh, I'm not sure. But yeah, I always knew people were friendly. I just didn't know if people wanted to talk that much. But yeah, you can talk to anyone really, and everyone's been great.
I mean, I've been finding I'll just be in line at the grocery store and someone will come up right behind me and start talking to me. I'm like, oh, hello. Engage in conversation. And that was something I was not expecting based on what Zach had said. So yeah, that was a pleasant surprise.
Maybe just nobody wanted to talk to me. my resting bitch face all the time. No, but things like having a dog or having kids, like older people love coming up and talking to you or making jokes to the kids or this, that, and the other. And
it's a nice breaker.
Annie's experienced that firsthand. So neither of us are that outgoing, I don't think, in general, until we kind of warm up.
Only with our friends, our close friends.
So it's been nice to see that though.
And this is the one that I don't know how long it's going to take me to get used to, but I've always been pretty confident, I would
She's
say.
finally getting to experience what I had to experience for years.
But I find myself not talking as much over here because I do not like having every head turn and look at me as soon as a word comes out of my mouth. And
What's that loud, obnoxious American saying again?
No, more so, I think we're just all ingrained to do this. When you hear something different, you turn to check it out and see what it is. And my accent is different. So anyone who hears an accent just turns and looks at you, and no one realizes that they're doing it. It's more just interest or...
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's just any accent, but I mean, I always wanted to go to America. Like, you see the American films and movies, and like, America was cool, and it had the bigger things and the brighter things and the music and all this. So I still think there is that kind of, people are very intrigued by American people and America. Like, the stuff that we get from media, entertainment, all that is a lot different from what we have here. And I think people still kind of think American people are interesting. And
I think I would have done it for any accent, even in the States.
I mean, that's how this all started.
The British accent is something special. Well, all the British accents,
in this context, we can say
accent,
Scottish, yes.
It did get me right away. But yeah, anytime I heard an accent, I would always look, because I like hearing accents. I enjoy being around people who might have a different experience than me. It's just neat.
Yeah.
It's the best way I can say. So whether or not anyone actually cares what I have to say isn't the point. It's more like having people just turn and look in your direction every single time you speak has taken me aback, and I'm like, oh.
And it's like, do I have something on my face? Like, why are they looking at me?
And I think it's just going to take some time to get used to.
Have you had anyone like ask you to say things?
No one's asked
Like
me to say
words or-
things, but every single person after that is, oh, where are you from? What part of America are you
There was
from?
a nice old man we just ran into walking home, and Annie was saying something to the kids, and he was just like, American! Which was funny. He was very nice though, but just
Oh yeah. Everyone's been extremely kind. No one said anything that would bother me in any way. It's more just having eyes on you.
Yeah. So that's the 11. We do have a bonus one though, which we discovered on November 1st, basically.
Oh yeah. I didn't know where you were going with
Is
this,
that,
but yes.
because over here, there's no Thanksgiving, obviously. People roll straight from Halloween right into Christmas. Usually in the US, we would hold off putting our Christmas people would, but we would hold off putting our Christmas decorations until Thanksgiving is over. My mouth is starting to get cold, I can't talk. And put Christmas decorations out after Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Not here.
No.
Yeah.
It was November 1st, and we saw people putting out their Christmas decorations.
The shop, literally on Halloween night, the shops were ripping down anything Halloween related, throwing out their Christmas stuff. And yeah, all the shops are decorated. The Christmas lights have been turned on. Shops are selling Christmas pies and food, and people are taking orders for Christmas dinners and everything.
I'm enjoying having a longer holiday season. Seeing Christmas decor go up extra early is very festive and fun, and makes it feel more special. So
yeah, it's a good excuse. The kids love it, and yeah, Christmas is great, so why not?
So I think that brings us to a close today. This is a little bit of a sneak peek for what's coming your way next week, so tune in. And once again, leave us comments on anything you want us to see throughout the UK first, and then of course the rest of Europe. We took notes on our video after York last week. A bunch of you had written some great suggestions, so we were making a spreadsheet. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
All right, thanks for joining.
Bye.